Okay, I'm recording now. Welcome, welcome. I let me. Okay, people are waiting. Let me admit. Let me admit people waiting. Okay, you're all welcome. You're welcome. You're welcome. You're welcome.
Not Uncle, I need àwọn coding stuff yẹn.
Coding.
You're welcome. Please mute your audio. Mute your audio. Mute your audio. Mute your audio. You're all welcome. You're welcome. You're welcome. So let's just. I don't want to really waste your time. I know you have some other things to attend to, but then I need to admit people in the waiting room. You're welcome. You're welcome. You're welcome. Okay. I think no one is in the waiting room again. Okay, someone is there. Let me just. Okay, now I'm listening. You were asking a question the other time before I continue with my presentation. Robert.
Yes, sir. I wanted to ask about this coding of the stuff we're actually learning about. And I just started hearing programming and programming. But what I'm trying to what I'm trying to get now is this coding. Does it like programming? Is it under coding? Like for example, JavaScript, Python, are they part of coding or part of programming? I don't get it. Like, why are we mixing coding with programming? Because it seems like I'm just getting confused.
No, don't be confused. Don't be confused. Don't be confused. No, don't be. I'm gonna just try and put up my. Let me put up my. I'm coming. Like I said, don't be confused. Okay, that's. Can you see my screen now?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
All right. Now back to your question,
Yes, sir.
Robert. Robert, that terminology,
Yeah.
programming and coding, there are terms that we can use interchangeably. Do you get that? Programming is coding and coding is programming. If you get that, that's because that's how a lot of people call it. That's why we also use those words interchangeably. In talking about programming now, it's still the same as you referring to coding. It's still the same thing. So don't be confused. The same thing. So uh under Python, you write code, you write line of codes. Do you get that? Under JavaScript, you write line of code. So they are programming, and what you do there is actually code. You write programs. Sometimes you said you program, or sometimes you find it as lines of code. So there are words that we use interchangeably. Hope you got that. So can I continue with my hope I've answered your question.
Yeah, but actually, I want to ask Python, like for instance, Python, I need to do a coding for somebody. Like, hey, for instance, I need to solve a problem. Right.
Okay.
So using, I mean, this Python, JavaScript, and stuff like that, are they a link or solving those problems? I mean, using coding, or I don't get it.
You're trying to solve a problem. For instance, one of the problems, let's be realistic now. You want to develop a website for an organization, right? That's a problem
Yeah,
you
for
can
instance.
get solved with programming. So what you do is that in developing a website, you make use of different programming language. You can use Python, you can use JavaScript. You get that? So in coming up with the website, you write your code. You get right lines of code depending on what you want to get done, what you want to see on that website. Use your HTML to come up with the text. Use your CSS to style it up. use your JavaScript to make it responsive. You get that? So the problem is to develop a website, and how we solve it is employing those programming language to actually get it done. Hope you got that. So what you are doing is you're actually
Yeah.
coding things. You are writing program to solve that problem. Another problem might be you want to actually analyze the data. That is, you are actually giving a data set. The data might be result of students, like I did for some of my students. I had to just give them summary of their result without actually telling their result. Lowest score, the highest score. So what I've just done is that I've used Excel as a tool to actually summarize the data which are result of for a particular course. The same thing with all these languages. That's what we do. So we write lines of code to get that done. So I hope I've answered your question. So there will still be
Yeah,
time.
definitely.
There will be time to actually for you to ask your questions, and so let's just continue. Let's continue. Okay, there's time for questions. Now, I was about saying something the other time. Let me just go back to. Now, we're actually talking about getting started, right? Now, what's the question we said you should ask yourself before getting started? What's the question again? You can see my screen now. I need to know that I'm not talking to myself. Let me hear from you. Hope you can hear me.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
All right. So, what's the first thing? What's the question you have in getting started?
This depends on the aspect of programming you want to.
The question there is what language? As what language are you to learn first? So I said that depends on the aspect of programming you want to venture into. And I use an example of myself, and I learned Python because I'm venturing into data science. And that's what that's a tool for working on big data. You get that? Python will also do what Excel do, but Excel is limited. Excel can only take 1 million observation, while Python can take as many as you can think of. That's why we use Python, and then we use that to analyze, we use that to come with machine learning, distribution, a lot of things. So now we said also focus on getting good at something. So you decided that, I'll be learning JavaScript because I want to venture into web development. I'll be learning CSS. I'll be learning HTML because these three are languages that we actually use in web development. So focus on getting good at it. You get that? Don't skip the basic. Don't skip the basic. Ensure you learn the fundamental. Now, what we have here that don't skip the basics. This we are having here, hope you can see, don't skip the basics. It's actually a secret that what will actually keep you going, what will actually make you relevant, what will make you relevant in the tech world. You get that? What will make you relevant in the tech world is that point we have there. You got that? What do I call it? What do I call that? So that will actually keep you relevant. When you understand the basics, when you understand what actually what makes up Python, what you can do with Python, when you understand your JavaScript, it will make you relevant because every other thing you'll be doing, you'll be building on that basis, you'll be building on that foundation you've already laid. And one thing you need to also understand is the fact that, like I said earlier, I want to repeat it again because it's something you need to have in the back of your mind as you get started with this coding or programming, as you said, which is the fact that you cannot learn everything at a go. No. Building a project. And I was sharing the example of the fact that in teaching in teaching web development, in teaching CSS, in teaching HTML, what I did was to actually come up with the idea of having our own version of Facebook. Of course, it's not to compete with Facebook, no. But you and I know Facebook, right? You actually have an account on Facebook, right? You've seen the web page. So with something you are familiar with, okay, what about building something like that? Just applying what you have learned, building that. So I think teach you a lot of basics around your HTML, and then you get started with that. Since you can see my screen, let me just give you an example. Let me show you an example of what I'm saying here. The example of what I'm saying here. Are we together?
Yes, sir.
Now look, you can see my screen, right? Can you see that?
Yes, sir.
So this is
Yes, sir.
line of code. This is actually HTML. Another line of code here is your CSC, and then if I should launch this, see where, can you see that? Can you see my page, please? Can you see my screen?
Yes, sir. Yes,
So
sir.
what do you have there?
Give me the user phone number.
What do you have there? Facebook login page, right? Exactly.
Yes, sir.
It looks like you can
So what we
connect
have
and
done,
share with
what I've
people
done
in
here
your
is, please mute your audio. What I've done here is to actually apply HTML and CSS in coming up with this web page. It's something very simple. Do you get that? So why did we work on it? It's just for you to be able to master those languages by doing something. That way you will get to know it. Without now, it's not as though I know everything about HTML. Neither do I know everything about CSS. But then you seeing this, at least you know that I have idea, right? I know something about it. So and that's good enough to get you started. You get that? So what I'm trying to say now is learn by building. Let me click on this. You can see the forgotten password page. Let me go back. You see that I have not finished this project. Let me just click on create page. What do you observe? You can see that this one doesn't look like the other one we saw, right? Is this what you have on Facebook?
No,
You see my
no.
page? Well, it's something similar. You can see that these are the images you see there. These are the words you have there, right?
Yeah.
But then the styling is not like that of Facebook, right?
Yes,
That's because I've not
Yes.
applied CSS on this project. I've only used HTML to come up with this. What because I only use HTML to come up with this. I've not completed the project. The code is still there. I've not completed it. So I'm trying to say now is that you learn by building. You don't need to know everything per time. I mean, when after you decide that this is the programming language you are going for, so you do that by building. Hope you got that. You learn by building. So let me just move and let's wrap this up. Trust you are learning something. Trust you are learning something.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay, I'm glad that you are learning. So now let's just continue. Now, okay, we've discussed everything here. So you learn by building on getting started. So the next point now is this is the most important takeaway that everyone has to remember. That means you've been here for the last 30 minutes, for the last almost an hour now. You should actually remember this, that you should have a strong why, have a strong reason you are getting started with programming language, right? Again, what are the 3 reasons I said you should not, that should not, what are the 3 things that should not be the reason you should venture into programming language?
Don't do it because every other person does it.
Yeah, exactly. You know, I know that you will feel left out, but that should not be the reason why you are venturing into it. Do you get that? No. And the second one now.
Don't do it to impress people.
Exactly. Don't do it to impress people. It is actually to solve problem, not to impress people. It is to solve problem. Okay? And then the third one.
Don't do it because you saw other people doing it.
Yes, you mentioned exactly. Don't do it. And I also mentioned that there's a lot of money in tech. Yes, a lot of money. Who cash there? A lot of money. But then that should not be the reason why you are getting started with programming. No, of course, but when you are good at it, you actually earn your money. But then why you are getting started is basically to solve a problem. And then also another thing we said is that focus is what? You need to focus on a particular language, right? You don't just up on every language out there. Don't try to learn JavaScript and at the same time you are learning Python and at the same time you are learning no. Don't do that. Now that for instance, now even this languages, HTML, CSC, and then JavaScript, you actually need them together. Of course, HTML is not a programming language, it is just an hypertext markup language. It's a very simple language to start off. If I actually want to get started at all, I will recommend you start by learning HTML. That is, if you want to venture into software or probably front end development, HTML. And then we have CSS. They actually work together. So there's no problem learning all of those together. HTML, CSS, and then the JavaScript. No, there's no problem learning all of those together. But then in the likes of JavaScript, Python, which can actually be interchanged, you can use, for instance, instead of using Python for data science now, for actually coming up with machine learning or predictions, you can also use JavaScript. So don't say you are learning Python and at the same time you are learning JavaScript for the same thing. No. That's not a good way to get started. So you focus on one, and upon focusing on that, you get good at it. Do you get that? And another thing you need to understand, you have to have at the back of mind, is that programming can be learned. It's not for selected few. Do you get that? I want you to actually put in the chat now that programming can be learned. Let's have it there. Programming can be learned. It can be learned. It's not for selected few. No. It can be learned. It can be learned. It's not for selected few. So let's just continue. Our time is almost up. Now, let me take your questions again. Any question? Any question? Any question? Any question? Any question? Emmanuel, any question? Olekon, you are here. Any question? Robertson, any question?
No question, sir.
Basit, you are here too. Any question? Fatia, any question? Okay, that would mean that all that I shared is crystal clear, right?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So that's wonderful. That's wonderful. I'm glad that you were able to learn that. So let's just get okay. So we'll be wrapping it up here. Don't forget what we actually learned. Let's just do a quick review of what we have done here. A quick review, a quick one. So we started from the agenda, okay? I told you my story, how I got started with zero idea as a 400 level undergraduate. I don't have any idea about coding. To actually doing something interesting in data science field, right? So that's my own tech journey. In the space of 2-3 years, I was able to actually do all of those. Probably in the next session, I also some other session I will be having, not today actually. I will also share with you how that at some point I stopped. Life happened. I stopped. I actually got frustrated. I was not getting it, and I will also teach and share with you how you can undo a institution like that, and how I was actually I was able to get at it again, and then I kept it going. So we'll do that some other time. But then also we discuss why are you getting started with programming? What's your why? Is it because your friend is doing that? Should not be the reason. So we discuss all of those, and also I shared with you my story again why I learned Python. Hope you remember. I said I learned it because I'm interested in that time. I have keen interest in that. I have keen interest in that. And also why I learned this because I want to teach and all of those. And okay, now we said understanding programming. When we say programming, you can also use it interchangeably with the word coding. There are words that we actually use interchangeably. And we also said programming is broad. It is really, really broad. So don't try and say you want to learn everything. Don't be caught in the web of trying to know everything. No, you cannot. Because by doing that, you'll be overwhelmed and discouraged. And also we said programming is not about showing off but it is to solve problems. And like you agree with me, okay, my funny student Zaya, he wants to learn about 3 languages as they go. So that's not the way you should start. No, no, no. Don't, I know that many of you are like that too. It's a good desire, but don't do that. It's not a way to get started. Focus on one. Focus on one. And also help you to see that programming is just a tool. It is a tool to get something done. Like for the engineers here now, it's like a flyer. For the teacher, lecturer, it's like a marker. Do you get that? What I want to do is to teach. When I come to class, I want to teach, not to actually there's not hope you get the idea. It's not that the marker in itself is what the student needs. No, I need it to teach something. Hope you got that. Like screwdriver to an engineer, it's just to unlock something. That's not the end point. So programming is a means to an end. It is not the end itself. So all these are what we have aspects of programming, web development, most all of that. And we do a quick recap here too. And then we said getting started. Getting started. What language are you to learn? So I want you to actually decide that now. That's one of the things I want to achieve by the end of this webinar. And everyone that actually watched it, everyone that is on board here, you actually be able to determine the language you want to learn. So that depending on which aspect of programming you want to venture into. So I'll follow up on that. And also I said focus on getting good at something. Don't just start and venture into everything. And those keep the basis. So that one programming language you will pick, ensure you know everything about it. Like myself, I took out time to learn Python. I learned it solo learn, using solo learn. I also went to Cisco. I learned it from Cisco again. And also when I got accepted into what Quant University, I was still using Python. So I really actually took my time in learning Python. And the interesting thing is that when you know one, you can easily venture into some other ones because they are basically the same concept. It's just different syntax. You get that? So focus on knowing one. By the time you know Python, by the time you know one of them, you can easily venture into some other programming language. Okay, and then we discussed that these are the things you go home with. You have a strong why, strong reason why you are getting started. And then you focus, your focus is key, focus on one thing. Because the truth is, technology keep on changing. Tomorrow, for instance, you know that we now have thread. Are we together? Yes or yes, we now have thread. Yes or yes. Aside Facebook that we have, Instagram, Mark Zuckerberg is also giving us thread again. How about I'm talking to myself? I'm gonna be on thread.
What's that, guys?
The network. Sorry about that. So let's just wrap it up. Let's just wrap it up. Let's just wrap it up. The network. The network. Let's just wrap it up. So I was asking that how many of you are on thread? Oh, what was the last thing I said? What was the last thing you heard me say? You said? What was the last thing you heard me say? Are we together now? Are
The,
we
net,
together?
Let's
the
wrap it
network
up.
is not good, sir. The network is not good. Rather,
It's fair now, right? It's fair now, right? So I was asking, what was the last thing you had me